King Charles's upcoming visit to Australia, set to take place despite him reportedly pausing his cancer treatment, has ignited significant controversy across the political and public spectrum. This visit, which spans 6 days, marks his 17th time in the country, and while it may seem like a diplomatic effort to reinforce ties between Australia and the British monarchy, it has been met with a wave of protests and criticism from Republican groups and certain political figures. At the heart of the controversy is the Australian Republic movement arm, which has labeled the visit the Monarchy Farewell Oz Tour. The arm, which advocates for Australia becoming a republic and cutting ties with the British monarchy, is determined to make a statement during the King's tour. They have openly expressed their disapproval of the monarchy and have vowed to use the occasion to campaign for a future where Australia is independent of any royal influence. In their view, the visit is not a celebration but rather an opportunity to highlight what they see as an outdated institution that no longer serves the interests of a modern, progressive Australia. Further fueling the controversy is the absence of key political figures during King Charles's visit. 6 of Australia's state premiers, 5 of whom are from the left-wing Australian Labor Party, have opted not to meet with the monarch during his trip. This decision has raised eyebrows, especially given that the visit has been planned for months. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns, who previously defended not lighting up the Sydney Opera House for King Charles's coronation, is one of the notable absentees. Similarly, Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen, whose administration has been progressive in addressing gender identity issues, will not be present. South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas has also been criticised for his government's decision to rebrand national holidays like Anzac Day, drawing ire from veterans and traditionalists alike. The decision by these political leaders not to meet King Charles has been met with sharp criticism. Royal commentator Phil Dampier labelled their actions as rude and disrespectful, while royal biographer Tom Bower added that these politicians and Republican groups are doing their cause no favors by attempting to embarrass the monarch, particularly when he has made personal sacrifices to fulfill his duties. Bower emphasized that King Charles, despite his health challenges, is traveling halfway around the world at the request of the Australian government. For critics, the refusal to acknowledge this sacrifice appears petty and inhumane, particularly when seen in the context of the King's role and health concerns. Adding to the tensions is the involvement of the British-based campaign group Republic, whose CEO, Graham Smith, will be flying in from the UK to participate in planned protests. These protests are expected to occur not only in Australia's capital but also in major cities like Sydney, where King Charles and Queen Camilla will be making appearances. The protests aim to highlight the growing Republican sentiment within Australia, and many in the arm view this moment as a pivotal one in their long-term campaign for Australia to sever its constitutional ties with the British monarchy. Despite the vocal opposition from Republicans and certain political figures, many experts believe that the broader Australian public still holds affection for the monarchy. Royal observers point out that the average Australian is likely to welcome King Charles warmly, with many viewing the monarchy as a symbol of continuity and stability. This is particularly true among older generations, who have lived through the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and see the monarchy as an integral part of Australia's heritage. While support for a republic has been growing in recent years, particularly among younger Australians, the question of whether Australia will eventually move away from the monarchy remains divisive. The visit is therefore shaping up to be a significant test of the relationship between the monarchy and Australia. On one hand, King Charles will be met with admiration and respect by those who support the institution he represents. On the other hand, Republican groups are determined to use the visit as a platform to push their agenda and challenge the relevance of the monarchy in modern Australia. With protests planned and political figures distancing themselves from the visit, the tour is likely to be remembered as one of the more contentious royal visits in recent history. Ultimately, this moment reflects the broader debate within Australia about its future as a constitutional monarchy. For King Charles, the visit may be a bittersweet one, marked both by the affection of those who still revere the monarchy and by the growing calls for change from those who believe Australia should forge its own path as a republic. The outcome of this debate, and whether it gains more momentum in the aftermath of the King's visit, will likely have lasting implications for the future of the British monarchy's role in Australia.